Hey guys, welcome to Revive to Stage, Revive Stronger podcast with me, Pascal Floor, and Steve on the other end. It is the time right between two shows. So Steve, last Sunday, did his show at the UKDFBA finals and is now 2 days away from the NPA finals. And when this show gets released, both of the finals are already over. But I think that this is the perfect timing to actually talk about what is going on in your head right between two shows, two finals. What are you going to do about that in terms of training, nutrition? Are you going to change anything? So I think the best thing would actually first talk about the past UKDFBA finals, what went down, what was going on, and all that kind of stuff. So Steve, tell us a little bit about it.
Cool. So yeah, it was this past Sunday, and then the NPA finals are on Saturday. So yeah, 2 days. I can't believe they're in 2 days. This week has literally vanished. So what you guys want to know is I came 5th out of 10 in the men's open middleweight, which was international and British final. So the caliber of person there, everyone there had at least a top 3 placing. So there was guys there that had won shows. There were guys there that had won overalls. The 2 guys who came 1st and 2nd were heavyweights previously. The guy that came 3rd was the guy that won my qualifier. And everyone was in fantastic shape. And just to be on stage with them was an absolute honor and pleasure. And I'm so chuffed to have placed. When I went there on the day, I was like, I was telling Charlotte, I was just like, my goal is to place. Like, if I can place in the top 5, I'll be absolutely chuffed. And I didn't actually realize there was a top 6 placing anyway. But to have got 5th is it's unbelievable to me, and to have even qualified for finals is unbelievable. So really chuffed. In terms of kind of how the day went and was structured, if you are into men's bodybuilding, be prepared for a long day, especially at finals. There's so many competitors there. The actual show overall, because I stayed for the entire thing, didn't end, I don't think, until like 10:30, 11 p.m. And I wasn't on stage till 9 p.m. So it was just a very long day. So I am glad I prepared an extra meal, which was just potatoes and tuna, basically, that I was eating through the day. And I'm really happy with the physique I brought to stage. I think it was probably the best physique I brought. A combination of fullness with conditioning. I think I've been the fullest, or looked the biggest, at least for the NPA. But I think part of that is just body fat, and part of it was due to that being the first kind of real peak week, and that all kind of was very orchestrated and very much planned out, and it went really well. Whereas this time it was didn't really peak for it as such, just tapered calories, as we've already talked about, tapered carbohydrates. So I felt really chilled on the day. I actually slept really well the night before, and did a blood flow restriction training in the morning, just a quick full body circuit, which was fine and fun, in fact. It was quite nice to actually do it. But I stuck pretty much, my diet looked like a typical day. So it was very predictable, very usual. Water was just to thirst. I had my pre-workout that I kind of normally have before hitting stage, and then went out there and performed. I think what I did notice was I felt almost rushed. I don't know if it was just me, but my perception of it being late in the day, they were predicted to have stopped the entire show at 9:30. So the fact we were getting on at 9 and they still had the heavyweights and the overall to go, I felt like we were rushed through our rounds a little bit. So I'm used to posing. Like, I posed every single day. Pascal knows this. I was sending him images every day, twice a day. And I'm used to doing those poses and holding them, but not in such a kind of quick manner. Like, your transitions, you basically didn't have a transition. It was like front relax, fine, side relax, fine, rear. And it was just very quick. So I felt like a bit rushed in some regards, and there's a lot to think about when you are rushed. But that all went fine. And I mean, I'm very happy, very content with how it all went down. My posing routine, I got complimented on by someone afterwards, which was nice. They said the song choice was awesome, and it all went really well. So I'm very happy with that. The footage I'll be receiving soon, and the photos have just come out, and it's really good because it's given me some clear, and Pascal already went through it with me, areas that I know I need to improve. So like back width and thickness. I think overall leg development, overall leg development in general. Glutes are good. And then obviously Definitely. Chest and kind of just upper body mass in terms of like width in general. Because I have such a wide waist, there's only so much I can do in that regard, like looking broad. And everyone else, the guys that came in the top three, they were all very much like hitting near towards the upper end of the weight category, which is 80 kilos, whereas I was sitting at 75. So I've got a lot of room to grow into this weight category, which I'm excited for. And that means I think if I stepped on stage at 80 kilos in future, I think I could be taking first place potentially with more muscle mass. So that really gives me a great starter actually for my massing phase straight after this, which I need to plan out. But I do plan to gain kind of about 5% above stage weight in about 5 weeks. So fairly rapid, but it's also a brilliant time to bring up weak points, which Mike Israetel has spoken about. So I'll be targeting back width. I will be targeting my chest big time. Although actually, I don't know if I can prioritize both. If I was to prioritize one, it will be back width. So I'll be prioritizing pulling, and I might pick one to prioritize my lower body as well, which I feel like should probably be quads, just because I don't have the biggest sweep. And I know if I get more development, then my conditioning will look even better because muscles will look bigger, they'll poke out, and you actually be able to see them, which I have seen happen over the years. So yeah, that's
and also think about the waist, right? Waist ratio then.
Exactly. And then, so it was a long day and actually didn't get home in bed until 3 in the morning. Obviously didn't have any post-show binge. I had 2 protein bars that were in the car just because they were basically there and I was hungry. And it took me to about 3,000 calories, I think, for the day, because I'd already planned all my meals into my Fitness Pal and then just had those on top. And then, back to it this week. So I guess, shall I go on to what I've been doing this week, I guess?
No, I just wanted to touch on one thing there on the last show. And this was the 5th place of you. Amazing thing. Amazing achievement, and I think that you can be really proud of yourself, especially when thinking of where you came from and where you placed in 2014, right? I mean, you placed 5th in the novice class in 2004.
It was actually 4th.
4th.
I was a bit too harsh for myself.
Okay, 4th in the novice class in 2014, and now
finals.
Exactly, and now it was the finals, the UKDFBA finals, in which you placed 5th. This is an amazing achievement. And I mean, you can just take a look at the progression of your physique over the past years. You can clearly see that you've actually committed and really put in some solid work and effort into your physique. And I mean, I know you well. I know how hard you're training and how committed you are, but also for the listeners and for the audience out there. I mean, for 3 years, you were really putting in the work and effort because you had a clear vision and a clear goal in front of you. And you wanted to actually, bring the best package possible. And now the goal is to actually take that achievement and improve from there on for the next season then. And also a big shout out to our man, AJ, who is now the junior champion and is going to Boston. And man, I shed a tear for you, AJ, when you're listening. You know that. Love you. And for both of you guys, I mean, it's absolutely amazing to see you actually achieving your goals and from there on actually move forward. And I'm so excited for your off season to see how you're then improving, and the work and effort you've put in the past is now been putting in the future, and I can only see you grow from here on. And I'm really excited to actually walk that journey with you. And I'm going a little bit off tangent here, but I just wanted to point out how fucking proud I am and how fucking proud you can be of yourself, of that great achievement, and it can only be better now. And I mean, now you can. Yeah, go ahead, mate.
Thank you first of all, because I mean, yeah, I mean, first of all, I'll say massive congratulations to AJ. I've already given him lots of congratulations, and he knows how much how much I think of him and how well he's done through his journey, and he is inspirational in his own ways, and the work he puts in is second to none. So he did massively well on the day, and it was great to have shared the experience with him on the day, actually, to kind of give him a fist pump when he got off stage, and then to have him help me when I was pumping
and a small
up.
Kiss.
Sorry?
And a small kiss. With a tongue.
Fortunately, there was no kissing. He did cry a lot, though, so he was a bit of a girl. So, yes, what was I going to say? Yeah, I thought something I do want to briefly touch on, and there could probably be an entire podcast on this subject, but you talk about kind of, yeah, I did put in lots of work and effort during my off season, and like I think you almost give me too much credit, because I definitely had times at which I felt like I felt like I was spinning my wheels. I had times at which I had thought about not competing because I was very concerned I hadn't improved since last time. I compared photos and I was getting very down on myself. So, and what I was going to say about AJ is he's been super confident throughout his contest prep. Like going in with the idea that he's going to win shows, whereas and he had reason to believe that, to be fair, because he'd done very well in the past. Whereas when I was going to these open men's middleweight classes, I was kind of thinking, man, if I place in the top 5, that'll be good. So I was never going in thinking, oh, Steve, you're awful, like you're not going to do well. But I never had any expectations. Whereas I'm so happy now to have done as well as I have, because now I have expectations of myself, and that gives me more confidence. So going into this final for the MPA, I want to I'm placing that top 3. And I'm going to give my all and concentrate on bettering, be the best I can be. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, leading into that, I guess, is talking about how this week's been structured. So it's been a bit weird because like I said, I didn't expect to get to finals. So this whole period of time, I've been dieting longer than I expected to be dieting. I've been in contest shape longer than I expected to be in contest shape. And so my mesocycles have kind of looked a bit not as kind of planned out and structured as I would have liked. I'm essentially in kind of a very overreaching, overtraining, very high volume, lots of metabolite work, kind of training period. Last week, I didn't take quite a deload. I kind of just leveled off volume from the week prior. This week, I was like, I don't feel like I've trained hard for ages. So I trained pretty damn hard the last 3 days. I am sore. I do feel a bit beat up, but it was fun. And I think it will be absolutely fine because I've got 2 days to kind of eat plenty of carbs and let all the soreness dissipate before show day. And then during this time as well, I posted yesterday actually on my Instagram how I think it's over about a month that I've tapered my calories up from around 2,000, just above 2,000. My calories never actually dipped below that apart from random depletions. And now they're up, I think yesterday, up to 2,800. I'll be going close to pretty much maintenance the next kind of couple of days, which is really cool because that's a nice transition then out of prep. I've kind of done the reverse diet during prep, which is a really good thing to do, and actually always was the goal to reverse into shows for me. And actually, which is really cool because the goal was to, you qualify for your earlier shows, and then your other shows, you actually want to get better show to show. And I've done posts about getting better show to show. And fortunately, I've had comments where people are like, you look better every single show. You've kept your mindset and your mentality and your physique amazingly well show to show. And like, even Broderick said to me when I had a consult with him a while ago, he was like, it's really good to see that you're actually holding on to your physique. Like, it's not getting worse, because it is easy to get worse because, as we know, diet fatigue builds and builds and builds, and I am still in a deficit. It's just getting smaller and smaller. So I'm glad I've been able to manage things quite well in that regard. So at the moment this week, I'm just taking photos like we did last week in the morning, and then after my sessions, see how full I'm looking. I don't think I've ever really looked spilled over. I think it'll take quite a lot of carbs for me to spill over, because I I think I have a very rapid metabolism that just adapts to things very quickly. I think that's something I've definitely learned during this prep. And it might be something in which I decide next time to use something like refeeds, because I think I do adapt quite quickly and they might help fight against that. I'm not sure, but we'll see. I might implement them in some cutting periods during my off season. So yeah, carbs are coming up today and tomorrow, close to 500 probably. I'll see how I'm looking tomorrow morning after a BFR circuit, because that's just a nice way to kind of make sure that everything's going in the right direction. I can see if I'm filling out. It's a similar way to a pump up before stage. Assess the physique. If I'm looking how I want to be looking, then I'll at least go to the same that I'm having today, if not a little bit more. Then again, assess on show day. And then, I mean, prejudging is actually, it's done differently this show. So in America, most shows are done like prejudging and then they have like finals or they have like actual judging. Whereas for the UKDFBA and the MPA, it had just been all in one. So you just get judged all there and then you get your awards that done then as well. Whereas for the finals, they have prejudging, which starts at 11:30 a.m. I'll probably be more on at like 1 because we're a later category, 1:30. And then there'll be actually kind of posing routine and like pose down and probably final assessment and judging of like the guys that are pulled out to be in the top 5, I think, or maybe top 3, I'm not sure. So yeah, it will be a bit of a different day. And then after that, me and Charlotte's taken Monday off. I'm going to work probably hard, Monday morning, and kind of deload next week and have a bit of time off. I'm not going to go binge, but I will go and have a pizza, and some nice breakfast and brunch and stuff and try and chill a little bit, give myself a bit of a break, because I essentially haven't had a diet break or a deload for like almost 2 months or something because of all the strange things that have been going on with so many shows back to back. So yeah, I think that covers most things.
Totally. No, it covers it quite well. And I had a question I wanted to ask you, because it's now the last show is coming up, and you said it yourself, the whole competition season was actually then longer than expected. And now you've been working for that goal for such a long time now. Now that it's coming close to the end, how are you actually feeling? Is there some particular feeling inside of you? Is it more like satisfying to come to an end, to then focus on the off season? Or is it more like that you don't want it to end because you're in that zone that you love to compete that much, so that you would actually like to always be in that kind of state? Just give us a little bit of insight in that regard.
Really interesting question, because I had this discussion kind of with Charlotte last night, in that I feel like I'm in a position where I could keep going like this for ages. I could keep this up for a long, long time. But I don't know what normal feels like. She was like, I can't wait for you to feel normal, because once you realize what normal feels like, you'll realize how good it is. And I think it's kind of like when people haven't gone for a deload before, and then they go for a deload and they hit their training and they're like, wow, that's what it feels like to have a deload. Or like when a female, say it's female, it could be a male, has been perpetually dieting for ages and ages and ages, and then you give them a break and they're like, wow, that's what it feels like to have a break. Or like time off work, when you've been working, and then you have a week holiday and you're like, shit me, this is what it feels like to not feel stressed. Or that's what it feels like to have good sleep. That's a good one, because people get very much used to feeling a certain way. But once you get rid of that, then you're like, wow, that's what it feels like. So I'm actually really looking forward to feeling normal. I think actually a good example is like when you're ill and then you're just used to feeling ill. And then when you're not ill, you're like, oh, being not ill is so good. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to feeling really normal again, and being able to be very more flexible with my social life, in terms of like being able to go out with Charlotte and kind of do things during the day, and not be so controlled by my nutrition and training, because I am controlled by it, and it's fine.
Finally coming to burden again.
Yeah, exactly. Like
things too like long that. Ago.
I'm really excited for our Revive Stronger Christmas meetup. I'm super excited for the Martin McDonald conference that's going to be happening. Like all of those things, living life again, because bodybuilding, I love it, but it is a very selfish sport. It's very self-indulgent. You do have to be very structured day to day. I'm thinking about my next meal, my training session all the time, which is fine, but there's a limit to which that's healthy, and I think there's more to life. So I'm actually really looking forward to living life. I'm not looking forward to any, like, people might typically think, like, eating certain foods or anything like that. I'm absolutely fine. I'll be eating the same way. Like, it won't be much different. It will be the energy levels. It will be the flexibility that will allow for. It will be knowing I'm growing my physique and building towards years to come, because I'm at least taking 2 years off. At least 2 years. It may well be 3. So me and Charlotte have already planned in to travel for 3 months, which you know about, Pascal. The listeners might not know about. So that will be happening, which is super exciting. We are going to have some big business plans for next year. So yeah, I'm in a really good spot with it. I'm ready for it to end, though. I could keep it going. It's not like I'm wishing it over, but I'm ready for it to end. And I think having the finals here now and I really want to do well in these. I'm going to give it my absolute all. And if I do well in them, like, it's going to be such a nice close. If I don't do as well as planned, like as I hope, oh well. But there's more years, there's future times on stage. And I'm excited to go into off season with you.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
No, and for me, it sounds like a really mature approach to everything, to know that things have a certain time to it, and that it's good to enjoy those kind of moments and then move on to other projects. And this it is when you always would be in a certain state, you would not appreciate it anymore, because it comes to being that normal state. It's like, unfortunately, to bring up that analogy, to have a partner or a loving person at your side, and you see them as you don't really appreciate the person being at your side anymore. But once the person is gone, no matter why, perhaps they are passing away, or you're breaking up, or the person just leaves your life, then you come to realize how important that person was. And you then regret that you didn't appreciate the time you've had together. And I think that this is kind of the same when it comes to being a good and mature bodybuilder, to appreciate the different moments and different aspects and different parts of the entire journey of your lifetime, right?
No, certainly. And I feel like I've milked this season well enough. Like, people have said to me, like, you've had a really successful season. And when I think back to how it's gone, I'm like, actually, it has been really successful. I've taken away 3 trophies. I didn't have any expectations for any. And yeah, having them here by my side, and like, I want another one. I'm cannot wait. And then, like, it's building the fire for future seasons. But yeah, there's so much more I want to do with Revive Stronger and everything. I want to help my clients get these trophies. I'm really excited to help more contest prep clients. I'm hoping that me going through all of this has kind of inspired some people to compete, and hopefully brought some attention to us and can help grow our business, because that would be amazing. And I'm excited to learn more, because when you're in prep, very much a lot of my learning has been focused around prepping, whereas now I want to get more into, I want to read Mike Israel's volume book that we've got, and that's been released, and further education. That's all very exciting to me as well.
No, absolutely. And I mean, we wanted to keep the episode short anyway, and I think that you wrapped it up quite nicely here, that the competition season itself is a certain period in your entire bodybuilding career, and now comes a new chapter, which then opens up another project you can then focus on. And this will probably be then the off season leading into the next season, which will then be in 2 to 3 years time. And now is the time then, after the MPA finals, to focus and refocus on other things, to then milk that project, so that you're setting yourself up for future success in other areas in life as well.
No, exactly. And I think this episode being short's fine because we sometimes blab too much. And it kind of sets the stage because after this episode's out, we'll both be in our off season, so we can start thinking about where we want Revive to Stage to go. And I'd like to ask the audience now, kind of where do you want it to go? Do you want to still hear about our progression through our off season? Obviously, we're going to hear it more balanced because I want to hear more from Pascal. I think he needs to put himself out there more as well. And it will be boring hearing about me all the time and all the pizza I'm eating because that's what's going to be happening. But yeah, I'd love to hear what people would like and maybe even like Q&As. But me and Pascal have already discussed the idea of every month we'd be checking in with each other every time anyway, and then we could go over our feedback to each other and share that with you guys, because that's really nice for us because it gives us some content and it gets us coaching each other, and it kind of keeps us accountable to more people. So I think that would be really cool if people are interested in that.
No, absolutely.
Cool.
Cool.
I think we can wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to add, Pascal?
No, not really. I think that we've mentioned everything also in terms of the upcoming Alan Aragon conference hosted by Martin McDonald in, Nottingham.
It's in Nottingham, and actually
on the 9th of December, and the ticket sale is about to close now, right?
Yeah, they close on the 2nd of November, I think. So a few days after this podcast is out, they'll be closing. So definitely hop on board that because it's going to be really good. Even if you've seen, I've seen Alan every time he's come to the UK because I'm just obsessed with the man. But it's fresh, new content that you won't have seen before, which is exciting to me. And yeah, you get to meet us. Come and say hi because we will want to say hi. And if there's enough people going, I don't know, comment below if you're going. Maybe we can arrange like a training session or something. I don't know. See what happens.
Yeah. Destroy Nottingham.
Yes. Shottingham. It's called Shottingham because there is actual like a lot of gun crime there.
Oh shit.
Yeah. That's where I went to uni.
Well, no. Yeah, so on that note, guys, thank you very much for tuning in.
Links will be below for those tickets, by the way.
Totally. So see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.